get started slowly to leave time to other people to get in. Thank you for being here. I'm Michael Istria, and I'm going to talk to you about this topic, which is about parallel builds in the Eclipse IDE workspace. Before I get started, some advertisement for my company and one of the important services offered by Red Hat. It's OpenShift.io. I won't get into details, but I suggest you get to the booth and chat with the people over there to learn more about this wonderful service you need in every enterprise. Now back to the topic, parallel builds in Eclipse IDE workspace. So for this presentation, you'll see there will be graphs and so on. The demo story is the one that's described here. I've implemented some basic projects, which, don't worry, you didn't miss too much. I've implemented some basic project with a builder on each project. And this builder just does a wait operation, so it waits for 1 second by default. It can be configured. The dependencies between projects will be defined as usual in the .project file, not as usual because there are other ways to define it, but it will use the vanilla one. So the .project will define dependencies between projects, and the wait builder.properties file define the duration of the wait and the scheduling rule. Okay, just some context, it's not quite important if you didn't get everything. So the current state of Eclipse IDE workspace. If I get a workspace with 6 projects using my wait builder, here it is this workspace. And if I do project build all, you'll see that this is the dependency graph. The dependency graph shows no arrow, which means that projects are independent. And this is a Gantt chart of the build progress. And you see that things are sequential. Okay? Nowadays, when you see builds done sequentially, when there is no dependency between projects, it seems like a big waste of resources, and resource is important. It's energy, it's money, it's whatever you want. We need to avoid waste at any cost. And that's the purpose of the parallel builds in the Eclipse IDE. So to trigger parallel builds, since Photon, there is this preference page, the workspace build preference page, and you see this field here, which is max simultaneous build per project. In Photon, the default value is 1 because we decided to be conservative. We cannot break people too much too fast, so we go for baby steps. And you can change this value anyway. So you can use 4 threads, for example, apply and close, and then we rebuild. Same projects, and here is the dependency graph. So the overall build for all projects went from 6 seconds to 2 seconds. And this is the big value of all that. So if I move forward, the benefits are obvious. We basically got a shorter full time from 6 to 2 seconds in that case, reducing by 66% the wait time, reducing by 66% the energy consumption because the CPU energy is based on the active time, and reducing also the time the process is running on the cloud, so the money you will pay to that cloud because you basically pay cloud per time usage. So this is interesting in terms of energy saving, but also because you have a faster availability of each project. Since you don't have a chain, a project that is independent is likely to be built earlier, and then the operations that are hooked on project build completion can be triggered earlier, and all your chain of deployment can be triggered way faster. I didn't emphasize this during the demo earlier, but the progress view is very usable, as you can see. I forgot, I will get back to the slide. The progress view shows the progress of each project. And actually, when you configure this preference page, what happens is that instead of having all build running sequentially, the process creates 1 job per project build. And then those jobs are throttled using the configured amount of thread using the job group API. The job group API was introduced something like 3 or 4 years ago, and it is a very, very interesting API for throttling work in the Eclipse IDE. And the preference that's configured here is used by the legacy workspace.build API. So there is no need to use another entry point to take advantage of parallel builds. You just have to change the preference. And as I said, the default value in Photon is 1. And here you see exactly what I showed earlier, is that because of this throttling on 4 threads, you see 4 builds running and 2 waiting, okay? That brings us to this graph. Throttling did actually schedule all the jobs at the same time, and because it's configured to run only on 4 threads, the 2 ones start later when there are 3 executors. Okay. So the dependency graph, when you have dependencies between projects, I won't do the demo, but I could reproduce it during questions. Assuming we have this kind of projects which have dependencies one on the other, which is the very usual case in an IDE, the dependency graph is kept internally in the workspace internals. And if you have no parallel, it uses the topological sort, one topological sort, because there are several possible good topological sorts. It uses one topological sort to decide of the best sequence to build the project. Here you see this graph resolves to this sequence, P3, P1, P2, P4, P5, P4, P6. That's when you are not in parallel. So the graph is turned into a sequence. When you have parallel work, you actually don't need a sequence. And you do need the graph. So instead of using the usual topological sort, we use directly the graph. And we schedule the jobs and the builds according to the graph. So the first one would be P5 and P3, which don't have any reference. They will build first. And you see they're scheduled first. And then once those are complete, we look at the subgraph removing those 2 ones. And we start the P4, P6, P1, which are ready because their ancestors are built. And it starts a new row. And they're scheduled and so on. So it's basically using the graph to decide when we schedule the build jobs instead of relying on a sequence. Now an interesting concept, a very powerful but difficult one in the Eclipse IDE, is the scheduling rules. Before, we will talk about it a lot. The scheduling rules are the cornerstone of parallelism in Eclipse IDE, so I will just make some reminders here. 2 operations which have a scheduling rule are considered as conflicting if rule 1 is conflicting with rule 2 or the other way around. Okay, that's an API contract, and the effect of conflicting operation is that they cannot run in parallel. So you cannot have one operation on a scheduling rule and another operation in another scheduling rule, which are conflicting, running in parallel. The workspace prevents that. And that's a very good thing. By default, scheduling rules are often workspace paths. So one rule will conflict with another if one is a prefix of another. So if you have a project is conflicting with any of these children. If you have 2 distinct projects, they are not conflicting. They are in different branches. And builders, which are classes implementing the incremental project builder, are expected to implement get rule. It is very important because the default one is workspace.getRoot. And we'll see many times in this talk how bad is workspace.getRoot as default behavior. For the next demo, we will use this kind of graph, and the dash red arrow means that there are conflicts between 2 builders. So here, we configured the various projects so they all conflict with P1. That's something we can tweak with the builder, but it's not just for the example. If we are in a non-parallel mode and we have all projects conflicting like this, then we are doing things sequentially anyway, and everything is in the same thread. There is never 2 builders running at the same time. So the scheduling rule do not really matter. You don't have need for scheduling rule at that point. And you still get sequential. So why were scheduling rules introduced in Builder if they are useless? That's a very good question. The main answer is safety. It is that when you are doing a build of a project, you usually need some areas of your workspace or usually of your project to be kind of guarded, to make sure you won't modify, an external source won't modify some things you are creating or you are reading. You need some kind of almost transactional aspect for building. And the scheduling rule were introduced in Builder for this reason, and they do it very well, because if you put your project as scheduling rule on a Builder, you're sure that no one can modify your project externally while you're building. So it gives some safety. But one golden rule to remember, and I hope you remember it because you'll hear many times this rule during this talk, is that to minimize the conflicts and enable more parallelism, you need to always use the narrowest rule your builder can deal with. It's very important that if your builder doesn't need the whole workspace but just one file to work well, just put a rule on this single file. You don't need to block everything else. And this is actually not so well applied, as we'll see. The bad state of art, it is very bad, actually. Most builders in Eclipse IDE ecosystem do use the default workspace scheduling route. What does that mean? It means that if I'm building one project which has the workspace route scheduling route, so if I use a builder like the Java builder we'll see, it's using the workspace route scheduling route. I'm building one workspace, I'm building one project, I'm making a modification on another file. Saving the file requires a scheduling rule, there is some workspace protection, and then it will say that saving the file is conflicting with building the other projects that's unrelated. And you get this dialog. This user operation is waiting dialog. Who realized this dialog? No one. Yeah. So the reason why you see the user operation is waiting, blocking dialog most of the time is because most builders use the default scheduling route. Okay? Unfortunately, when I say most, there is the builder, the king of the builders, the JDT builders, the sub-king of the builders, the M2 builder, and the sub-king, the PD builder. So it's really a problem that's spread across multiple projects and so on. And this really blocks users' action on unrelated files. If we assume, if we had a builder with a finer grain rule, so for example, if we say P1 just as a scheduling rule on itself, so it just choose itself as scope and lock, kind of. If we have P1 with a light scheduling rule, we build P1 and we save a file in P2, it would work. Because the workspace wouldn't see both operations as conflicting, and it will just save the file in P2 and keep P1 building. Okay? How does that thing apply to parallel build? Well, actually, a build is just a file operation like any other. So if you have scheduling rule, you want them to be guaranteed as working well. And what I'm showing here is not that the parallel builds are better at dealing with scheduling rules. It is just a way to confirm that the parallel build do not break the contracts of scheduling rule. And this is utterly important. You cannot break the contract of scheduling rules. So if you have conflicting projects who are building, I mean projects with conflicting builder who are building and configured to run in parallel, you'll see all the builders scheduled at the same time, but the job dispatching will happen in a way that will make them not running in parallel because they are conflicting. Is it clear? Okay. For the most, how to say, the most attentive to details, you will see that there is here a job start and a build start, and there can be a gap between both, which is a waste. There is a technical reason for this waste. It is that at the moment, the implementation of how we do scheduling of builds does not directly propagate the scheduling rule to the job, but it chooses it inside the job execution. So the job starts, and then it asks for the right to do its work and to get the rule. That's a minor detail. What I'd like to emphasize, despite that it could be improved, is that it is good as it already. So it's just food for thought, but it doesn't break the value of all these parallel builds. So I could almost stop my talk here by presenting you this slide because everything you need to know is there. One project build is turned into one job. Throttling is done with job group. Scheduling happens according to dependency graph, so we schedule a node when the parents are all built, and the parallel builds do honor the scheduling rules as it is utterly important in the Eclipse IDE. And the golden rule is that to minimize conflicts and allow more parallelism, you have to set a very narrow scheduling rule, or even consider changing your code to allow a narrower scheduling rule. The narrowest the scheduling rule is, the better the IDE will perform. So now that you got this slide, I will highlight a few cases which are interesting to better understand the value of all that. First will be this case. Let's assume we have a chain of dependency and one standalone project. It can be a very common use case in the Eclipse IDE, where you have, for example, a Maven project with 30, 40 modules, which are all chained in a big graph. And at the same time, you have one JavaScript project on its side where you just do some JavaScript development for whatever. And there is no relationship between both. With one thread, with the sequential build, which has been in Eclipse forever, you get this sequential behavior, and the P6 will build last, just because of its name, actually. But you have to wait for all the other builds to be processed before getting the output of P6. If you get to parallel world, then the build chain will not build all at the same time because there is the dependency management. And P6 will just be scheduled immediately, and you will get results immediately, almost immediately, but upon completion. So you could start working on the next steps of P6 while the rest of the builds are running, which is not the case with a sequential build. So that's an interesting case of why enabling parallel builds can be helpful, even if you have a ton of projects that won't build in parallel because they are dependencies. You can have some small independent projects that will be built earlier. Cycles. Cycles are fortunately not so common in the Eclipse IDE because people don't like to work with cycles in general. So it's not a very interesting case, but we can discuss it for the sake of doing graph stuff. We have this graph, and it will go sequential as usual if we are sequential. When we are building in parallel, what's going to happen is that we'll say, okay, let's process the graph normally. Let's start with the node which have no parent, P4 and P6. And then, upon completion of this one, what happened is that in this graph, in the subgraph that is remaining, there is no entry point. There is not one node which has no reference. And this is the symptom of a cycle. And when we have a cycle, we just fell back to the strategy that was used to compute the sequence, which is using the strongly connected component algorithm. We will fall back to the strategy to just pick the first node suggested by sequential build. Here it will be P1. So we will build P1, and then we will look at what's remaining in the graph and process the graph as usual. So when P1 is built, we can start building P2 and P5, and then P3. So we break cycles by just finding the first interesting node in the sequential approach. The workspace route scheduling route. So while we are talking about parallel builds, this is, I believe, where I want you to... Yes, this is evil, and I want you to be aware of it. The workspace route scheduling rule actually disable parallel builds because of backward compatibility issues. Okay? So you say it could be perceived as an implementation detail, but actually in reality, workspace route conflicts with everything. So even if we did enable parallel builds with workspace route, it will be conflicting with everything, and you will never get two projects building simultaneously. And as I said, most builders in Eclipse IDE prevent build from running in parallel. That's a very sad note. Let's remind the golden rules these builders should have applied is that to minimize conflict and optimize parallelism, the scheduling rules have to be as narrow as possible. We'll go for two case studies, and the second one will illustrate the issue with scheduling rules. The first one will be a .NET Build builder. We have 6 independent C# projects, and the builder invoked the .NET Build command line. Okay? The scheduling rule for a given project is the project itself, so there is no conflict between projects. They are standalone projects. We try the sequential build. It takes 39 seconds. We do parallel build on 4 threads. It takes 26 seconds. So we get a gain of 33%, but the expected one was 66, just like it was for the weight builder. The thing is that parallelism is not something that's given to every piece of code. And in reality, most real-world operations do I/O access, network access, and so on, and they do not parallelize perfectly. So if you run 4 times the .NET command like it was done here, each one of them will be 3 times slower. And this is the real graph. It's not a Photoshop graph. This is the time with 6 .NET builders sequentially, and here 4 parallel and 2 sequentially. So even if there is a big theoretical win, it can be a big theoretical gain. It can be that the gain is in practice lower than the theoretical one. But still, it's a major win. We save 33% of execution time within 6 .NET projects. So it doesn't harm, at least for this case. The other case study will be JDT. So the Java builder do use the default scheduling rule, the workspace route. So if you have 5 Java projects, they immediately conflict all together because they all use the workspace route scheduling rule. And if you have a project which is standalone, here the scheduling rule will be P1. P1 will conflict with all Java projects, which are workspace route scheduling rule. So you end up with a graph. This is a sequential one. In sequential, you will get this sequence. The first one is longer because there is the class loading happening, but it's not so important. And you will get a sequential build. Let's remind the golden rule is that JDT should have tried to get a narrower scheduling rule to enable parallelism, or at least to not block parallelism. And if we take this rule, which greedily includes all JDT projects, so we choose a rule that says we will let other builds or other workspace operation happening, but we keep all Java projects together. At least we are sure it wouldn't break too much. Because we are, again, in this conservative mode. Eclipse IDE has about 20 years of legacy. We cannot change things too fast, although we like, but we care about you. And we take this rule, which is kind of safe and greedily includes all Java projects. Then this graph becomes this one. And the value is not in the real-time execution. The value is that the P6, which was an independent project which didn't care about Java, got built after 1 second instead of 25. And at least such rules, which are greedy but kind of safe, can enable builds, parallel builds in other projects at the benefit of non-JDT projects. That's already a big win. Hopefully this will be part of JDT 4.9. It's very likely that it will be merged in the next day, so that's cool. But we could go further. Why cannot Java Builder be really parallel at the moment? Why do we have to say we take all Java projects as scheduling rule? Well, actually, we don't know yet. And having the answer to that and knowing what to do would require a thorough evaluation of what can be synchronized, what cannot be synchronized, what are the good data structures to use to enable parallelism. Are there subsets that can be parallel, subsets that can't? So it is very likely that it is profitable, but it's a huge effort. And we'll make this huge effort, very likely, because with JDT-LS getting to the cloud, cloud provider have to pay the bill for computing, and you like to pay a smaller bill and reduce computing time. But it's going to be a very interesting challenge if you're into Java build and parallelism. That's one of the funkiest tasks you can think about for the next months. But it's important also to acknowledge before starting this that maybe we realize that JDT Java Builder doesn't well enable parallelism and that there will be no gain. I mean, there is always a chance that it doesn't work, but it's definitely worth trying. And as I said, many builders have the exact same issue of locking the workspace scheduling rule. I'm done, so I'll allow questions, and I want you to repeat after me that to minimize conflicts and allow more parallelism, you should schedule the narrowest you should use the narrowest scheduling rule your builder can deal with. Thank you. I think we have plenty of time for